So the guiding questions of our project that we kind of focused
We
on.
got to introduce ourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Adam Hogue, and I'm a fourth grade ESL teacher at in Woonsocket.
Matt Paiva. I'm a grade 9 social studies teacher at Coventry High School.
Okay, and we had a lot of initial questions to kind of get us to sort of the core things we were focusing on, and those are in bold over here. How can students be given options to choose media? Will students have the skills to use media effectively? How can students reflect on the process? How can students use digital media platforms to compare and contrast a variety of sources? And how can students gain the skills necessary to navigate media and reflect on the process? So with those ideas in mind, we wanted to choose platforms that were student-friendly to use, highly accessible, and really helped the learning, and there wasn't a huge learning curve to actually learn how to use the product itself. So just something to work alongside maybe pen and paper kind of stuff, or just to fit into a regular class and get them to really get the information they needed.
We really chose to analyze different types of media. We kind of took our own spin on it for grade 4 and grade 9, but it's something that's really important, not only in their personal lives, but in the classroom as well. So it's a skill that's transferable between in and outside of the classroom, which is something that we both wanted to hammer. And we thought it was nice that we could take a theme that was applicable across grades, been such a large gap. Developmentally, that's a huge gap.
Yeah. So just a really quick overview of what I had my kids do. They're getting these actually hard copy worksheets, and they first visit Padlet. And I already completed it, but they would get it. These would be mixed up. They have some news sources. They have to essentially categorize where they think those news sources fit by visiting the site. And then they work on the worksheet in their small groups and actually do it pen and paper discussing. And then they have to do a screencast where they explain their thinking. So it might start by them just reading the questions they wrote, but then I'm hoping that they'll start to think of other ideas even while they're explaining it like we are now. And then they post their screencast to this second Padlet underneath, and this is blog style. So and this is how we would share it with the class, because we'd have like a presentation kind of day.
So in my part, I took what Adam had done and just kind of, you're inverted. And kind of just took it to a little bit deeper with ninth graders. So I took the same analyzing. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
I'll do the student one.
Oh yeah, you got it, Nate. It's just soft touch.
All right. So I just put a Google Doc here with each one. So the students chose their own topic on pre-revolutionary America, and it brought them to a Padlet. So group 1 chose Boston Massacre. So I had put a bunch of documents up there for them to first observe, and I put student work, and then they had to go back, find their own in the research, and then create observations. Then also I took the key questions in digital literacy and kind of reworked them so that way it could be easier for ninth graders to answer, because some of those questions are kind of difficult to wrap their heads around. So they modeled the first one, which was a video. So they went through the questions, and then after they answered the questions for each source, we had them create a screencast explaining it, and then they had to create a digital presentation, which I left it up to them. So group 1 decided to do an Adobe Spark web page. So they're analyzing the media, explain why they chose each portion, why do they choose this political cartoon to represent perspective, and why it's important to be critical of sources. Put a link to the Padlet, and then upload the screencast right here. And then they also have a feedback form, which other groups I have to open up so everyone can see that, can peer assess. It's kind of help them reflect even more.
Something I wanted to bring up while you were saying that is, in the question of implementing these ideas, Matt had mentioned how he modified the questions from the
Media literacy questions.
Yeah. And also for fourth grade, if you notice the questions I chose, it starts with a couple, but then I want them to analyze one source. And even for a fourth grade, you can modify those questions to really get to the heart of what digital inquiry is, and really get these students to think about a variety of sources using that same sort of principle. So really this is for L's as well, so really simplified language. What is the news source? It's as simple as saying what it is and what do they think the purpose is. And it might just be the purpose is to show the news. Something like National Public Radio or BBC would be a source that seems like all they do. How does it keep your attention? Are there many points of view in source, or is there one? Does it seem like a lot of different people, even visually? Are there a lot of different kinds of people featured in the newspaper?
Sorry to cut you off. The final prompt question is, how might you implement this project when you're working with your own students? It's the first part. And I think just the artifact in itself kind of explains that. We both created something that we plan to use in the classroom. So I think in an effort to, one of our questions was, how do we make an authentic assignment? And I think that's exactly what we did. We want to create one for our students, but we ended up doing that ourselves. So we created an authentic piece, which we plan on using.
Yeah.
And then with our colleagues, I plan on, doing some sort of PD. My district does that kind of stuff a lot. So teaching them these kind of things.
Yeah.
Especially I really like the reflection process.
Yes.
Because if we're reflecting through our process right now, I feel like I know this stuff inside and out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like I could lead a PD on it.
And also too, just implementing it by finding media that just works across all grade levels, like Padlet. I think we both found it. Like if you look at a ninth grade idea for it, much more complex, has a lot more information there, but then you can easily scale that down and make just more of a tactile. Like this is just literally moving and arranging things and clicking. So, you get in those basic just tech skills as well, how to navigate a web page on different levels. That's it.
Okay.